We are covering, what I'm going to show you will be how you can use your Microsoft class notebook, so that this is another way for you to have a digital interactive notebook with your students. And it's a pretty cool notebook that you can use and your students can have access to, whether they're using an iPad or they're using a laptop, okay? Or even, let's say, another kind of tablet. As long as they have access to Chrome, then they'll be able to use it even online, okay? All right. Okay, so it is 11 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys in here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. All right, so just FYI, just to let you know that I am recording this training so that other teachers who are not able to join today will be able to go back and watch this recording. So just FYI, I am recording this session. Somehow the recording in Schoology is not working, and it has also removed previous recordings that I have conducted last week. So that's quite unfortunate. But now, good thing we have backups of backups. So that's why I'm using Zoom for the moment while we still can, so that we can capture this session and share it with the teachers. Also, I have my YouTube channel. So I'll post here on the chat on how to, let me just hide that sun right there. There you go. That better? Okay. All right. So I'm going to post here also a shortcut to my YouTube channel, because I have been posting tutorials in there. So it's in here in the chat. So it's a bit.ly shortcut link. So you can subscribe to my channel, and I will continue to recreate some of the videos that were not, that are no longer available in Schoology. So you can go in there and you can subscribe to that. Okay. All right. So welcome again to everybody. There are 15 of us in today's meeting. So I'm very glad to have you around. I know you all are very busy. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Okay. All right. So we're talking about how to use, okay, our, let me just stretch my other screen right here so I can see everybody. So right now, this is my Google Chrome, and you can see in my screen number 2, which I am sharing with you right now. There are different ways for you to access your Microsoft class notebook. Some of you may be familiar or remembered using it before, and also some of you probably this will be your first time to encounter Microsoft class notebook. So there are 2 ways to log in. I think one of the most popular way to get into our Office 365, more than likely you have been going to this website, my.episd.org. Again, that's my.episd.org. And once you get into that link, you usually use your EPISD credentials, right? Your username and your password. And when you're inside my.episd.org, you have been clicking on this link called Office 365 Login. And when you click on that, it brings you to this page after you enter your credentials. Again, if ever your computer asks you to do so. So looking at this view, something familiar, right? Maybe what's probably different would be the design on top, depending on the theme that you have chosen for the look of your Office 365. So we have here a class notebook. This is where we're going to go in a little bit, and I'm going to add you guys in, and you're going to help me, you know, find you because it is connected with Active Learning Directory. So I'm going to be your teacher in that class notebook, and you're going to be my students. Okay. So just to make sure that we have you guys available. Can you hear me? Yes? Yes? Okay. All right. Because somebody's saying that they can't hear me. You might want to check your system, the system that you're using, the audio, just to make sure that it is on. Because sometimes when that is not set, you know, you will not be able to hear me. Okay. All right. So let me just open the chat here so I can see any questions that you guys might have. Okay, so from here, the class notebook, if you actually download this application in your computer, which you can, and I will have to double check that if it is available in self-service so that you can download it much, easier than going through the whole step of being asked an admin username and password. So I will double check on that. But pretty much when you download your the application of OneNote, it will have the same look, just like in OneNote. The only difference would be after you set up your class notebook, it will eventually jump into that class notebook. So you might be wondering, what's the difference between OneNote and class notebook? If you want to do your individual digital notebook, you can just with OneNote. Although OneNote, you can share it with other people. Like for example, if I have my own digital notebook, I want to share it to, let's say, a colleague of mine in the same grade level because we're collaborating together, or another teacher because I'm a new tech teacher, so we co-teach in the class, then I can share just my notebook with that person. But if you're collaborating entirely as a campus, or you're a teacher and you want your students to all have digital notebooks, then the best way to set that up would be class notebook. Okay, so that's the only difference between the two. They have the same look and feel. The only added bells and whistles in class notebook is being able to add and assign digital notebooks to a group of individuals, and you happen to be the teacher and the owner of that notebook. Okay, another way to get into your Office 365, it may not be very popular because it depends on the look and feel, which one you're more comfortable to use. But you can use your ClassLink or your Launchpad of EPISD. And as you can see, my Launchpad, I organize it into groups or categories, just like what you may find in your smartphone or in your tablet. Okay, so in my EPISD teacher tools, that's where I have my Office 365. And when I click on that app, it will also go to the same place. Okay, so again, just showing you two different ways on how you can access your Office 365, either via ClassLink or via my.episd.org. Okay, so let's go ahead and have some fun. So I'm gonna go click on Class Notebook. I'm gonna click on that. And what's gonna happen is that I'm online, it's web-based, it's in my browser, okay? And it's gonna give me 4 choices. It's either I create a class notebook, I can also add or remove students from current notebooks that I have, add or remove teachers, because you can collaborate with teachers using a notebook. So just imagine, let's say, if you're doing a PLC, you need, instead of having a folder, and in that folder you have different files, why not create a class notebook? And all of your collaborative pieces are all in one notebook. Okay, and still individual teachers can still have their own notebook, but there will be probably a department chair who might be the owner of that notebook and assigns individual notebooks to the people in the team, and then everybody gets to collaborate in the collaboration space, okay? You can also manage notebooks. So like on my end, since I have a lot of notebooks that I've used for training, you will be able to see that later on. Then if I need to manage my existing notebooks, then that's the place that I can go to. So for now, we're gonna create a class notebook, okay? So I'm gonna click create, and the first thing it's gonna ask you, what's the name of your class, okay? So do you have biology 3 period 2, or you wanna name it a little bit better, right? So I'm just gonna put here, just for kicks, 041320, and this is my second Microsoft class notebook. Okay, so just for kicks right now, I could do better in naming it. The only thing is you're limited in terms of the length of your title. I haven't really counted how many characters or how many letters and spaces I actually have, but it's a trial and error on my end, you know. So the more detailed you are in your notebook, Microsoft class notebook might tell you got to shorten that name. Okay, so I'm just gonna, hopefully it will accept this, and it's not gonna accept weird, or I would say sophisticated symbols like the $, the ampersand, and all those other symbols. It will only accept the dash lines as the symbol in so far that I know of in the title. So I'm going to click next, and it accepted the title, so that's great. So now the next step, you can see on the left-hand side, it has 7 steps for you to complete before you, completely create a notebook. And of course, if it's your first time, you're gonna go read it, right? And then once you get used to it, then it will you can just breeze through it, because then you wouldn't have, that same probably first time experience doing this. So in the notebook, as a teacher, you will always have the collaboration space. So you will always start off with a welcome, and after a welcome will be the collaboration space, where your students together with you, you can all work on a page together or different pages together, okay? Depending on the purpose. Or you can also group kids into different pages and have them collaborate that way. So think of it as your stations, as your breakout sessions and things like that, okay? Now, the next section will be the content library. In the content library, you can pretty much share files, attach files, share links. I'm not sure if you can embed videos. I can't remember if you could, but I would just say create a link. So if you have a YouTube channel and you're already uploading videos, tutorials or teaching videos there, then just copy that link and then post it in your content library. The purpose of the content library is, as a teacher, if I have digital worksheets, if I have websites that I want to share the kids, if I have documents that I want them to download but not delete them, then that is the place for you to plug it in the content library, okay? So any templates you want them to use, any resources you want them to share, they can copy and paste it into their own notebooks, but they cannot delete anything in your content library, okay? Now, if you are a co-teacher, then you can, because you will have the same level as the homeroom or as the content teacher, okay? Then after your content library, you will have your student notebook. So if you have 35 kids, expect to have 35 names underneath or in your notebook, and you can see the progress of your students in each of their notebooks, okay? So we're gonna click next. And now we're gonna start adding email addresses. So this is where I need your help. I need your help to plug in your email addresses in the chat box. And I'm gonna start copying your email addresses, because this is tied in with Active Directory. So I need to make sure I add the correct person, okay? So can you please add it in your chat box? All right. Okay, I'm gonna start copying them as fast as I could. Okay, there it is. Just bear with me. Okay, I just want to make sure I copy the right names. So you can see as I'm copying and pasting your email address, I have here, so I'm going to paste them as my teachers, Jane, Arlene, and Carla. I'm going to make you as my teachers, okay, for now, so that I will have collaborative teachers. Then the rest, I'm going to make you as my students. So the first one, asking for adding teachers, and now I'm going to add names of students, okay? So Emma, I'm going to put you as a student. There you go. So we can see the difference, okay? All right. And you're going to get an email once I click done and I share it to you all. You're going to see how it is. So just bear with me. I'm almost there. I have quite a few students. So this would be great if I had the list earlier on. This would have helped, and I could have just plugged you in, but that's okay. We got this. All right. Okay, so there it is, right? So now we have our students. I'm going to click next. Now, the next page, this is where you have to think, clearly, and you need to organize your thoughts and make sure, are these the names of the sections in each student's notebook? Will it look like this? If you were in secondary, maybe, or you can think of something better. Now, if you are in elementary, like in my earlier session, we named it by content, like math, science, social studies, yada, yada. So let us say I just put math, for example, math, right? I put ELAR, science, and social studies, okay? There you go. And you can still add if you want. So if I want something more for writing, specifically for writing, then I'll put writing in there, okay? But students can also add more sections later on, okay? But this one is more of what are at least the ones that you really require for each notebook to have, okay? You can name it, but again, it requires a little bit of planning and organization to make sure that these are the notebooks you want for each student. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to click next. And now you can see as I zoom in, right? There you go. So in my teacher's notebook, okay, and this is the same look that the first three who I identified as my co-teachers for this class, they're going to have the same look and feel. They're going to see the welcome. They're going to have access to that. They're going to have access to the collaboration space and the content library, and they're going to see the names of these students. For the student notebook, this is what the students can see. Like for Emma, for example, they're going to see all these different subjects in their notebooks. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. And now just take a few minutes to open, because it's creating it in the background, populating all these names and assigning all those different sections in every student's name. Okay, so my co-teachers, I know it was Jane, it was it Carla? Carla, and who was the other one? I'm sorry. I know there were three. Arlene, right? Arlene?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now the next page that will be shown to me, it's either I open it in OneNote or I open it in OneNote Online. So for us, I want us to open it in OneNote Online because I don't know if you already have the app downloaded. If you do, open it in the app. But for those of you who may not be sure if you have the app in your computer, let's go ahead and open in OneNote Online. So I'm going to open it. I'm still in my Chrome browser. And now you can see the look of it here on my screen, right? So now you can see here the collaboration space. So in the collaboration space, I have this section right here where all of us teachers and students can start writing and creating, okay? And I can easily add a page in there and put our collaboration space. So this will be our trial collaboration space, okay? There you go. And you can see it's saving, and it's going to take a few, some time for it to refresh on your end for you to be able to see that page. And from this page, you can start typing, also drawing. You can also do all the other features here in the space. And I'm not sure if as students, you can create a page. That's the question. I want to see if you as a student, for example, if you can create a page, because with inside the collaboration space, okay? So let me go back to welcome. So you can see in the welcome page, this one, if I have my syllabus, for example, or my course content, or if I'm in elementary, I have my class schedule here, then probably I'm gonna post it here with a little introduction, who I am, blah, blah, blah. And you can see here also, you can change the color of your font, you can bold your letters, you can add pictures or images, add links. So you can see in Microsoft, they added their links here for interactive training. So these are just some of the things that you can do in a page in your class notebook. Also, you can also build your own frequently asked questions page. So any questions about your lesson or about your content or about rules and things like that, you can also create that as a page. And they also have here, try out our staff notebooks. So right away when you create your own, it's gonna give you all these default pages so that you will have ideas as to what you can do with the class notebook. And they have really cool links. It will launch into another website, and it's going to give you ideas and trainings that you can attend to get more fluent with Microsoft Class Notebook. Okay, now I mentioned about the content library right here. So the content library, pretty much you can put images, like what I said, digital files, your PDF, Word document, PowerPoint templates, all that good stuff, and the kids will not be able to delete it. Your co-teachers can, and your co-teachers can also add into it, but your students can only copy and paste it in their individual notebooks, okay? So I'm gonna look at Angel's notebook, and you can see here his note, the notebook right here has science, math, right? They're all blank right now, writing, social studies, and ELAR, okay? So Angel can also move around the different notebooks, okay? And Angel, are you male or female? I'm so sorry, because I don't know if I should use he or she. I'm so sorry to ask that. Is Angel in here? No? Did he leave or did she leave? I'm not sure. Okay, but anyway, all right. So right here also, so like what I said, you can drag and move around the different subjects, right? And from here, once Angel, for example, starts typing and entering a title, sample title right there, then you can start doing that. So let us say this is this is notes for April 13th, 2020 notes, right? Then as Angel types into the space here, then me and my co-teachers can see what Angel is writing, okay? Whether it is, for example, a sample notes right there, text. Also, you can insert files, right? The student can insert files. They can insert tables, right? They can add tables in there. They can also insert pictures from file, from camera, or from online, okay? So if I want to add a picture, I'm going to choose a file and just randomly select, for example, this one right here, that picture that I posted earlier, right? And click insert, and now that picture will be posted in here. Okay, so just give it a moment to load, and it's gonna show up here in a few minutes. There you go. Okay, so now there's the picture, right? And I can also move around that picture if I need to give some spacing right there, okay? You can also insert audio or a link. So you can also insert a link, right? So if you have a YouTube account, you want to post it in there, you can add it in there, okay? So the kids can do that as well. You can also add an audio. So if I click audio, I'm going to allow my microphone. And if I want to record, right now it's recording, if I want to record instructions in the notebook, that instead of me typing out the instructions or doing both, you can. So let me click stop. And now once the audio is finished, just wait for it to load up, and then you'll be able to play it and you'll be able to hear it, okay? So it just takes a while for it to load up here. And once it's available, I can click on it and play it. So there is a play icon right there, or play command there. I can play that. And if I want to record, right now it's recording, if I want to record instructions, so you can hear the instructions, right? So it's pretty neat. I like using the audio so that I can read out to my students my instructions just for added support. So sometimes students, they don't want to read it, they just want to hear your voice, then you can add that. You can add that feature, okay? All right, or you can, for elementary, if you want to read a book or read an article or a passage to them, then you can do that as well, okay? And the kids can use it too. So if you're giving them a project where they are required to do a dialogue, they can be very creative. They can change their voice to be of character, you know, depending on the project or on the story that they probably are working on. Okay, all right, so the next thing that you can also do, you can also insert symbols. So there are some symbols available, right, that might be useful for them if they're doing any writing, or for whatever reason, if they're doing any math, then they can use these symbols as well. Okay, so these are the symbols that's available right there. You can also do some math. So if I click on math, I don't know what happened, where it went, but there it is. So there, if I get started with math, I can use some quick start examples in here, okay? And if I choose, for example, solve for X, then I can choose simple mathematical equations that I can plug into my notebooks. If I do this, X equals 4, I can drag that and drop it in here. I can also do a graph, and I can insert this on the page, right? Just wait for it to load. Okay. There you go. Okay. Or I can also do it graph in 2D. Then I can insert that on the page. So they can do all these little different features available in their notebook. Okay, there you go. All right. So they can also insert, let me go back to that math, and either to turn on or off the math feature. Okay, so they can do that as well. All right. So I haven't played much with that, but again, it would be great if you have an iPad. It will allow you to touch your screen, or a tablet that has the Chrome in it. It will give you the ability to use either a pen or use your finger on the screen of your tablet, and you'll be able to have better control in creating mathematical equations that way. You can also add, you can also add emojis. So there are some emojis available. You can add in, these are Office add-ins, so you can add these little apps in here in your notebook, okay? I also like the ability to be able to add forms. So if I want to do a simple assessment, I can just sign in. And once I sign in using my EPISD credentials, then I can start creating pre-assessments or post-assessments. And just to kind of get the idea, how are my students doing when we were solving this problem, or when we were reading this passage or doing this experiment? How do they do? What do they know, right? It's either capturing it before the lesson or after the lesson, okay? And also you have stickers. So if you are familiar, let me just close this one right here. If you are familiar with Microsoft Teams allows you, and I'm just going to use a different page here in science right now. So sample page right here. If let's say the same thing, these stickers also are also available in your Microsoft Teams meeting. It's also available here in your Microsoft Notebook. So if I want them to talk about the planets, recreate the solar system, they can do that. Oops, I doubled it up. Let me just remove one of those. So I can add different symbols or different images, and I can do my research on planets, or I can recreate the whole solar system and explain what is the solar system, right? So these stickers may be helpful, some of them anyway, not all of them, to help students illustrate what they're talking about, right? So again, it's just taking time, and that's just my internet access. It's just taking a little bit of a time to load up the images, okay? So there you go. All right. So they can use the different images available, and instead of just copying something from Google or from the internet, then they can use the ones here. Okay. All right. So that is for your insert. Now the home is pretty much something that we're very familiar. You have your fonts here, the different sizes for your font. You can bold your letters, italicize, underline. You can do some highlighting. You can change the text color of your text. You can copy and paste, you can erase, you know, again, just different types of formatting. Just like in your Microsoft Word, maybe not all of the commands are here, but pretty much you can find a lot of the tools that will be very useful for you, especially if you're doing writing, if you're teaching ELAR and you're teaching them um, you know, write correctly using proper grammar and punctuation and capitalization. Okay. You also have here your spelling. You can also set the language, right? If you're typing in another language, that feature is also available. You can choose one. I haven't tried other languages in this particular, you know, application, but you can try and see if it will accept you know, characters in a different language. Okay. All right. So right here, if I dictate right now and it is in English, so I click dictate, so I can dictate my notes. If I don't like to type, you can see the letters there showing up. So it's now, you know, showing the letters as I speak. Then I just close that, and now it has captured my thoughts. Now I'm gonna try to see if it will do it in Spanish. I'm not sure. Let me try if it translates it. So let's see. Hello, welcome to my class. So yeah, there you go. So it is trying to speak to it in Spanish, right? So I just don't know if it's capturing the words correctly. So it's a very bad translation. I'm not gonna pass Spanish class, as you can tell. Okay, so again, you know, you get the idea, right? So if you speak in Spanish or vice versa, then I'm just curious because Sonia is here and I know she teaches Chinese in Mesita. I wonder how that will look if she, you know, speaks in English or speaks in Chinese or vice versa, right? I would be interested if it will capture the characters or whatnot. Okay, so you have that available. I'm gonna go back to my welcome page, okay? So another thing that I like about my welcome page or about Microsoft Notebook, I'm in under view and I have here the immersive reader. I don't know if you've heard about the immersive reader. But when I was a little kid, I think I am an undiagnosed dyslexic because when I was a little girl, I would always have a hard time reading and I would reverse my words or reverse my letters. And I would use my own strategy in order for me to survive reading. I would use my own ruler, right? And try to read line by line by line because when I don't have my ruler, all the words are just are like mixed up. And what happens is that I only you know, glance through the text, not fully understanding the whole paragraph or the whole passage. So I missed out a lot. So with the immersive reader, and the reason why I went back to the welcome page, because it has a lot of text. And I need for you to see this because it's really cool. So I click on immersive text or immersive reader, and now this immersive reader has captured that page where I was at, and it can read to me. So if I click on the play button right here, check this out.
Your OneNote class notebook is a digital notebook for the whole class to store text, images, handwritten notes, attachments, links, voice, video, and more.
So if I'm a struggling reader, I can have the artificial intelligence, and that is AI, read it out to me. Another thing that it can do, if I click on the double A right here in the upper right hand corner, I can change the size of the text, so I can make it bigger or I can make it small. Okay, depending on my eyes, on the child's eyesight, right, as to what would be most convenient. Also, I can decrease spacing or increase spacing this way. I can change the font. So the font that is easy for me to read, and it's Calibri that I choose because I'm able to understand or read the words and letters better. I can also change the color of my background. Remember those overlays? Every time there's STAR or EOC testing, you have overlays. Well, this one is already embedded. So if I like a dark screen, and this one, the black is very hard for me to read. It's painful for my eyes. If I choose white, yeah, it's all right, it's okay. But so far, the best one for my eyesight is this color, the purple one, for my eyes anyway. So you can choose the color that you want to be able to read your text, okay? So that's pretty cool, all right? And then you can also, here on the next tab, if I click on the grammar, if I am struggling, English language learner, I'm still learning the language, I can, let's say, identify, are there nouns here? So if my teacher is saying, point out the nouns, and I don't know what a noun is, I can click on this, and now it will identify all the nouns in the given text, okay? If I want just to see the verbs, what are verbs? Then now I can see the verbs because they're in color red. And I can change these colors too, okay? I can change those colors as well. If I want to know if there are adjectives in the text, then it's gonna give me that color, right? And if I want to identify if there are any adverbs in this text, then it's gonna highlight that. So if I want just to see adjectives and I want to show the labels, so if I click on labels, it will give me the abbreviation for adjectives, which is ADJ. So this is helpful if they're writing and you're asking the students, I need you to have adjectives in there, as many nouns, as many verbs, as many adverbs, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then even you, when you check, you can see if they have that, and even them as a student, they can check to see if they were able to do that, okay? Another piece too is the syllables. So you can see if I am not able to read out the word, but I want to syllabicate the word, then I can do that by turning on the syllables, okay? And it will help me hopefully read the word better, okay? Now, I also have here in reading preferences. So this is the one where I call it the ruler, but it's like, you know, when you use the ruler and you put a hole in between, then you can focus on the text that you're reading. So this has helped me a lot when I was a little girl. So here, the same thing with your kiddo. They can read the text line by line and they can just focus on the line, right? And it will avoid them from losing track to what they're reading, okay? Also, you can adjust that. If you don't want one line, you want two lines, you can. If you want a wider spectrum to read, then you can as well, okay? Now, if you don't want any line focus, then you can remove them. I can also translate using a different language. So if I want to translate all of this in Spanish, for example, let me just look for that. So there you go. And do I do it by word? So right now it's chosen by word. So I don't know what individual is. So I can just click on individual and it's gonna give me the Spanish version and the Spanish pronunciation.
Individual.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So if I want space,
Espacio.
right? So it can help your English learners. It's a great way to differentiate. But if you have an L1 student and they just need to have the whole document in Spanish, then remove by word and instead choose by document. And the whole document is translated to Spanish. This is better than the dictation, than my dictation, right? So this one is a better way of seeing the translation. Okay, there you go. All right, so you have that available. All these features are free because we have Microsoft Office, we have Office 365. So it's that, you know, all these features that Microsoft embedded into the system, they're very expensive. This is what you call assistive technology. And usually with other companies, these are add-ons that you pay extra. But in Office 365, it's all bundled in together and it's available in most, not all, but I think they're getting there in most of their applications, okay? All right, so I'm gonna remove that, put it back into English, and there you go, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my notebook. I'm just gonna click this right here, and it brings me back to my notebook, okay? So there you go. So if you have, I'm not sure though if it can do the same thing with an attachment. So you might want to try that. But I know any notes you put in the notebook, any text you type in the notebook, it will immerse, you can use the immersive reader, okay? You can also do a reading view, and the reading view pretty much removes the ribbon at the top. So, you know, it removes all the tools, all those commands in there. But if I click on edit, it brings it back, okay? You can also change the page color. So I think this is pretty entertaining for some. They're able to change the color of their notebook. So students can do that. You can do that too as a teacher, okay? So let's say I borrow Craig's notebook right here. I go to the science notebook, all right? And here's a sample page, the science notes. And I'm going to change the color. There you go. I can also, I don't think it has the lines, because in the app, I noticed that in the app, it gives you the ability to put graph lines. So if you're teaching math, you can have a graphing paper on your notebook, but I don't seem to see that feature available in here. So it may just be in the app version. So that's a good thing if you're doing mathematics or doing any charts or graphs or tables, then that would be very helpful. And right here, you can also, under class notebook, you can add more students or remove students. So if, let's say, a student dropped out of your class, they're military, they moved to another state or moved to another city, then you can remove that student, okay? Or you can add remove teachers. If you've, you know, if one of your teachers decided to go to another campus, then you can remove that teacher or add another one. Whoever will be the new replacement. You can also manage your notebooks here. So you have all of these different commands available, and again, just a lot of different tools and commands that you can use, okay? And you can also create another class notebook from here as well, okay? Now I'm gonna show you how it looks like on the app, because I think we have time to do that. So I'm gonna click open in app right here. So I have that available, and I'm gonna leave this notebook and I'm gonna open it in Microsoft OneNote. So there you go. So now it's loading up the page. There it is. So just wait for it. I don't think it launched. Hold on, let me find what happened to my notebook. So let's play. Is this the one? No, this was my earlier one. Okay, let me close that. Okay, try launching Microsoft OneNote again. Let me open that. It won't bring me up. Okay, so let's just play with the one that I have right now, which is my the one from earlier. I don't know why it's not opening it from the one that we were at. But for the version of the OneNote app, right here where you have view, so you had only page color there, but you can also do paper style. So you can do notebook. That's what I noticed that was missing. You can have big lines or thin lines or bigger lines, right? And this is where you can also do a graph, your graphing paper. Okay, so you have this feature available when you have the app downloaded in your laptop. Okay, so I'm thinking if you're in elementary, you can access Office 365 via the Chrome, and then for your student laptop devices, it's pretty easy. You have your Chrome in there, so then it's one-to-one, so it's not going to be a problem at all. Okay, all right. Do we have questions? Oh yes, so can I link this in my Schoology? Yes, you can. So in the app, there is on the upper right-hand corner a share button, okay? So there's the share. So I can share that, and I can have anyone with the link can view, okay? Or you can just have people in El Paso district with the link can view. Do not give edit access, because your kids will have access to the notebook. individually, right? So this one is just for the purpose of having people like your principal or AP or other colleagues look at what, you know, the notebook that you have. So they can view it, yes, but they shouldn't be editing or deleting or making changes in your notebook. So just give them view access. It's pretty good with anyone with the link can view, and you apply that, then you can just copy that link, right? Copy the link, and then you can plug it in your Schoology course and say, this is the notebook for my first period class, right? So let's say first period, Algebra 1, or first period, Chemistry, right? And then the other notebooks will be, of course, different for your other classes. So if you have, let's say, 3 sections of chemistry, it's up to you. You can put all these kids together in one notebook for all of your 3 classes, and then your physics class will be another notebook. Or if you're just teaching one subject and you want to break it down by class period, you can do that too. That will be up to you. As long as you're able to manage the notebooks. Just remember, if you're going to put all 3 sections together, you're going to have a lot of students in that notebook, okay? And they can only access their own notebook. They cannot see each other's notebook, okay? So let's say Emma can only see my notebook, but Emma cannot see the notebook of Richard, for example, okay? So that's the only thing. But on your end, as a teacher, you see everyone's notebook, okay? All right. So in the, I'm just going to resume editing here. In here, you can see the share button right here. So you can share that, the same idea, right? Copy the link, anyone with the link can view, copy that, and then you copy this link, and then you post it in your Schoology, okay? Any questions? Yes, the kids can do this for themselves if you teach them how. Correct. Yes, you can. And just like the overview I've given you, the key is organization. So whatever sections, so let me just remove that. Whatever sections right here, these are your requirements. Students can add more sections, right? And of course, you will see those sections. But what are your requirements that they need to have? So I'm curious, like Jane, for example, you're new tech. So what will be the sections in your notebook? It may not be by content area. It might be something else based on the requirements of your projects, right? So you think about it that way. And also with our Irvin Alls, right? You also have new tech, but you also have classrooms that are non-new tech. So how do those teachers think, and so that you can help them design these notebooks with their kids, okay? And the nice thing about the notebooks, if Schoology goes down, it's not the end of the world. They have a notebook that they can go to, and teachers can assign assignments through the notebook, right? And how can they do that? Very, very easy, using the content library, right? So in my content library, I can plug in the assignment, right? Get your resources here. And the kids can access the notebook even when Schoology is down, and they can still continue working, okay? So think about all these different features available. It's like having a partner, digital partner teacher in the home of the student, and the student can, you know, make use of that. So Jane placed here, so you have projects like for letters, poetry, essays. So your ELAR, right, Jane? So for you, Jane, then your notebook for your students will be different. You may section it by letters, poetry, or by name of your projects too, right? So you can do it that way as well, okay? And they can collaborate in the collaboration space. So in the content library, in the collaboration space, I can create sections. So I can write a section here, let's say group 1. If I click OK, so just wait for it, it's loading. I entered it here in the collaboration space. So now, where did my group 1 go? So it's just taking a while. So I'm here, I'm gonna create another section, group 2. So you can build as it's populating right now. It's just taking a little bit of time to do that. So the idea is you can have all different groups in the collaboration space, and you can assign students to go to that space, okay? It's just my internet. It's slow at this moment. So that's the idea. Any other questions that you might have? Yes, it is great for differentiation. Absolutely. So your students who need additional help, you can just drop it in their notebook and the other kids don't have to see it, right? So anything digital that you want them to look into specifically and you're still meeting the IEPs or anything like that, even bring in the special ed teachers or resource that assist you in class, bring them in and they can drop those files in there also for the kids. Yes, absolutely. It is very, you know, very useful for projects. I absolutely agree. So Jessica said, it looks like if you use the link in Schoology, you will need to turn off the open in Schoology feature. Yes, correct. Because I tried that earlier. You need to open it in a new page in order for it to launch. Yes, because the links in Schoology, if you open it in Schoology, it's not very friendly. It will give you an error and the students will think, oh my goodness, it's not working. It is. But if you open it in a new page, then it will launch it. Okay? Yes. There's a way to open it in Schoology. Don't, it's like, don't let it appear in Schoology or embed in Schoology. It has to open into another page. And I don't know, but I think my system here, let me try to sync my notebook. Da, 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 da. Connections. It's not like, it says it's saved, but I just have to refresh. Let me see if I refresh. Will it let me? There you go. There it is. So I refresh my page and there's my group 1 and there's my group 2. But of course it's blank right now. So this is what I added earlier, right? I can also change the color, by the way. The section color, you can also change that. All right?
Hey,
And
Charo, I have another question. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
There were questions about linking this with Schoology. How does this line up with Microsoft Teams? I would think that they would go very well together.
Oh, yes, they do. So in Microsoft Teams meetings, if you create, so imagine if you create a Teams meeting for your class. So let's say, let's borrow Jane's class, right? Elar, what grade again, Jane? You're mute, Jane.
Sophomores.
Sophomores, so second year students, right? So for your second year students, you create a team in Teams, if that makes sense, right? And then from there, they already have, you have the ability to create a notebook in that Teams, in that team, in Teams, if that makes sense. And then you can collaborate from there, yes, because they all talk to each other. And unfortunately, Teams doesn't download on your computer, even from self-serve.
Nope. I've already let both Tim Holt and the Zendesk know that. I've heard nothing back. I sent that last Monday.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me check on that. It might be something that needs to be fixed then in your laptop if that's the case, which is strange. Why would it do that? Yeah.
It's to the very end and says error and doesn't finish.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go look into that, Jane. Okay. Sorry. Doesn't work.
Right. Well, the kids are dealing with the same issues. So.
Yes. But online, you're able to use the Teams meeting?
Yes, I've never been able to, I don't even know if I can use team meeting online. I've not done that. I just used the team page online.
Okay,
So
which is, let me go back here to my page right here on Teams this way.
Yes, yeah, I use that page. Nobody's ever invited me to a team meeting. If that's like an online thing, I don't know.
Okay, so if I open my Teams meeting, and sorry, I have a lot of Teams meetings in here, but like what I was saying, if I don't want to open my app, I just want to work online. So this is how it looks online.
Right.
And from here on my Teams, there you go. Ignore all my different teams because I've been playing around with it a lot and I've been doing practice. So let's say if I do middle school orchestra, right? Then I can, there's that class notebook right there.
Right.
Did you see it, Jessica? Right, the class notebook right there. And then I can set up the class notebook that way.
So when you say team meeting, you're not talking like a Zoom meeting. You're talking about just going into the application.
Yes,
I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about an online meeting. I'm like, no idea. I can do this.
But
Yeah.
she should also be able to actually have like an online meeting like Zoom through Teams, right?
Yes, you can, Jane. Right here on the post, right?
Uh-huh.
This is one way at the bottom. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So you can see here at the bottom where you have that camera. I can schedule a meeting this way or meet now. So if I schedule a meeting, it's gonna give me, and the nice thing, since you created a team in Teams, all my students I have already added for this class, right? They're gonna get this information. And I can just add a title in here. This is an example, like, or all of my ELAR students, right? And
Right.
then they'll see that in their calendar.
And this shows up kind of like a Zoom meeting?
Yes,
or?
yes.
It's a chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a video conferencing tool as well. It's already embedded in there.
Okay, Carla and Jessica already know what I'm going to ask you to help me do.
There you go. You got homework. And another way too would be, there's a calendar right here on the left-hand side. So in the calendar, ignore my calendar. You're not seeing anything. Okay, those are all just effects. But that is my calendar. So if I want to schedule, so every student will be able to see the calendar. So if they have a meeting, let's say right here, they can see the meetings that you've already set up. So they can check it that way too, on their end. And you can schedule it here as well. You can schedule a Teams meeting here as well. Okay. All right. So going back, sorry, didn't mean to scare you for my Teams. Just going back to the notebook. Let me just scoot this down a little bit. There you go. So that's pretty much what the notebook is, and I really like it. And I think it's really easy for middle school and high school, just because you have that one-to-one. For elementary, you gotta take it slow with the little kids, you know. So, and also we have still issues with our iPads, unfortunately, because we don't have all new iPads. We still have the old ones. So they will have to use Chrome in order to access Office 365 online, and they have to enter their credentials, their username and password. But if hopefully the iPads that we ordered, hopefully it will come in soon so we can release those new ones and they will function way better than the ones that we currently have. We have some that are working, but there are also some that are, you know, at their last legs, so to speak. Yeah. And any other question? If not, that's the end of our training session. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, if you have any questions or need additional help, this is my email. Okay, this is my email right here. All right, there it is. Okay, so that's my email. And tomorrow, I'm going to be working on digital portfolios using Keynote. So just FYI. I will post it again also in conferences, just so that you all can see it. I'll try to publish it on a website so it's easier for you to follow the different schedules. And but I'll work on that today. But other than that, today it's mostly Microsoft class notebooks. And then tomorrow will be student digital portfolios using Keynote. Okay, so that will be a little bit different. It's more of creating it from scratch, because that's what Apple tools are, right? They won't give you templates. You need to learn how to create it. That's why they have this big hashtag, everyone can create, everyone can code, because that's just their philosophy. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Well, have a great lunch and thank you very much. It was always nice to see you all. So take care. Bye-bye.